Imagine being diagnosed with a disease that's more feared because of stigma than science. What if the very thing that's supposed to protect us, our community, our family, and our friends, turns against us, making it harder to cope with the diagnosis? This is the reality for many people living with HIV. But what if I told you that the fear and stigma surrounding HIV are based on myths and misconceptions? The question is, how can we break free from the shackles of stigma and misinformation, and create a more compassionate and understanding society? The answer lies in understanding the difference between society's perception of HIV and the reality. You see, HIV is often seen as a death sentence, a punishment for reckless behavior, or a sign of moral decay. But the truth is far from it. With proper treatment, people living with HIV can lead long, healthy, and fulfilling lives. But despite this, the stigma persists, and it's costing lives. The impact of silence and misinformation is devastating. When we don't talk about HIV, when we don't educate ourselves and others, we create an environment where fear and stigma thrive. This can lead to delayed testing, inadequate treatment, and a higher risk of transmission. But why does this happen? How does stigma spread fear and silence? The answer is complex, but it starts with a common myth, that HIV is easily transmitted through casual contact, such as touching, hugging, or sharing food and drinks. But is this true? The myth that HIV can be transmitted through casual contact is a damaging one. The reality is that HIV is primarily spread through unprotected sex, sharing needles, and mother-to-child transmission during pregnancy, childbirth, or breastfeeding. This myth has been debunked by science, but it still persists, causing unnecessary fear and stigma. For example, a person living with HIV may be shunned by their community or family, simply because they don't understand how the virus is transmitted. But what if we could change this? What if we could create a society where people living with HIV are supported, not stigmatized? Let's break it down. HIV, or human immunodeficiency virus, attacks the body's immune system, specifically the CD4 cells, which are a type of T cell that plays a crucial role in our immune response. If left untreated, HIV can progress to AIDS, or acquired immune deficiency syndrome, where the body is unable to fight off opportunistic infections. But with antiretroviral therapy, or ART, people living with HIV can suppress the virus, restore their immune system, and prevent transmission. So, what can you do to help break the stigma surrounding HIV? Can you think of a time when you may have unintentionally contributed to the stigma? The importance of openness and education cannot be overstated. When we talk about HIV, when we educate ourselves and others, we create a ripple effect of compassion and understanding. We need to promote a culture of empathy, where people living with HIV feel supported, not stigmatized. We need to encourage responsibility and awareness, where people take control of their health, get tested, and know their status. But how can we do this? What are some practical steps we can take to create a more compassionate society? The role of treatment in reducing the spread of HIV is critical. With proper treatment, people living with HIV can achieve an undetectable viral load, which means they are virtually unable to transmit the virus to others. This is a game changer. But it requires access to healthcare, medication, and support. What if you or someone you know is living with HIV? What would you do? How would you react? The truth is, we all have a role to play in breaking the stigma surrounding HIV. Stigma is more dangerous than the virus itself. It's what prevents people from getting tested, seeking treatment, and disclosing their status. It's what leads to isolation, depression, and anxiety. But when we promote compassion and understanding, we create a society where people living with HIV can thrive. So, what can you do to help create this society? Can you think of one thing you can do today to make a difference? The answer to our initial question lies in taking responsibility and awareness. We need to educate ourselves, our families, and our communities about HIV. We need to promote openness, compassion, and understanding. We need to shift our mindset from fear to empathy, from stigma to support. So, what's the one thing you can do today to help break the stigma surrounding HIV? Can you commit to learning more about HIV, to talking about it with your friends and family, and to promoting a culture of compassion and understanding? The actionable takeaway is clear: get educated, get tested, and get involved. Learn about HIV, its transmission, and its treatment. Get tested regularly, and know your status. And get involved in your community, by promoting awareness, supporting organizations, and advocating for people living with HIV. By doing so, you'll be part of a movement that's breaking the stigma surrounding HIV, and creating a more compassionate and understanding society. In summary, the key takeaways are: HIV stigma is more feared than the science, education and openness are key to breaking the stigma, and treatment is critical in reducing the spread of HIV. So, what's next? How can you stay informed, stay educated, and stay involved? Follow Easy Medics Daily for clear, life-saving medical knowledge, and join a community that's committed to breaking the stigma surrounding HIV. Subscribe now, and let's work together to create a world where people living with HIV can live without fear, without stigma, and without shame.